Alright, this video is to review how to tie a nymph. I'm using a reel hook, and you can see, oh, maybe you can see, it has a little barb on the end of it. I would recommend debarbing it, and all that really means is using a pliers to bend that barb flat. It just makes it easier if you get the fish hook in your hand. You can just pull it right out without causing any injury. Okay, and I'm going to attach it to my vise just like you've practiced in class, but remember, if you choose to use a reel hook, be careful that you don't snag anything on the point of the hook. Okay? And just like we practiced in class, I'm attaching my thread, and then I'm going to continue wrapping all the way back to the bend in the hook. So now my thread is hanging off the bend in the hook, and we're tying a nymph, and what differentiates a mayfly nymph from a caddisfly or a stonefly is that its tail has 3 parts to it. So for the tail, I'm using a piece of feather. I think this is from a turkey. I'm going to cut some pieces off of it with my scissors. Okay. And I only need to end up with about 3 of these little pieces. Do the best you can. If you have, 2 or 4, it's not the end of the world. And I'm going to attach it with a pinch wrap, which we've practiced in class. And then I'm going to secure it. And then I'm going to wrap up to the front of my hook. The tail itself should only be as long as the shank. So now my tail is as long, and if I need to separate those feathers, I might use my dubbing needle to do that. I do have 1 extra in there, so I might try and trim that off later. Okay, so now we need to make the body. Traditionally, you would use some dubbing, which is really fine fibers. Okay, this is what dubbing looks like. But I'm going to show you an easy way to make the body. You can try it. I don't know if you use we're going to use dental floss. If you use the dental floss on a real fly, I don't think it's going to catch you any fish, especially if it smells like mint. But if this is your first time tying flies and you have no interest in actually fishing with them and you're just doing them for your science project, then by all means go the easy way. Okay, so you need about an arm's length of dental floss. Cut that off, and I'm going to secure it again with that pinch wrap. And then I'm going to tack it down. Don't mind all the noises, that's what I get for doing this outside. Bring this closer. Okay. I bring my thread up and out of the way, so now I'm going to wrap the body with the dental floss. And it's an insect, so it should have 3 distinct parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Okay. The thorax, being the middle part, should be the fattest part of your insect, and of course you get that way by continuing to wrap the dental floss around. This is the most time-consuming part, clearly. When I show you how to tie the dun and the spinner, I will use dubbing, so you can see how that works, in case you do decide you want to actually use these for fly fishing. And then You taper it off again as you get to the head and secure it with your thread. And by secure it, I just mean wrapping the thread over it so it doesn't unravel. Now, of course, real mayfly nymphs would not have a white body, so we're going to color it brown, make it a little more realistic. Okay. So we've got two of the important parts on here. We have the body and we have the tail. Now the mayfly nymph lives along the stream bottom, and it gets around with some legs. So I just took some of this white fiber. You can use yarn too for that matter. I cut a small piece. Now these are legs, so they're going to go underneath my fly. If they were wings, they would go on top, but right now they are legs, so they go underneath. I'm going to secure those. I'm doing a little bit of a crisscross. I'm kind of going around on one side and then on the other, okay, to secure those. And I have a couple of options. I can leave them as they are sticking straight out. If I wanted them to be bent back a little bit, I would wrap in front of them to bend them back, or if I wanted them bent forward, I would pull them forward and wrap behind them. And the key is that they are legs, so I should not have them be too long. So I got to trim those up to be like legs, and I can use my dubbing needle again to separate them out a little bit. Okay. Now I need to make the wing casing, because in the larval stage here, in the nymph I should say, the wings have not yet come out. They're kind of like folded up underneath the wing casing. So I took a piece of feather that's about as wide as my thumb, okay, about as wide as my thumb, and I cut it off. I'm going to secure it, and it's going to hang off the front kind of like a mohawk, okay, and I'm going to secure it right behind where I've put those legs. Okay. Again, I'm using that pinch wrap. Pinch. Okay. And then I'm going to secure those feathers on. This part of the feather, we call that the butts of the feather. I'm going to secure those on very, very well. If I have a lot extra here, I would trim those up. And now I need to make something that's going to represent the wings folded up underneath. For that I'm using some thread. It doesn't matter what color it is, or yarn I should say, it's just a little bit thicker. Again, securing that on with a pinch wrap. Okay. And then to make a little bit of a bump that's representing the folded up wings, I'm just wrapping it in place a couple times, again right behind those legs. And then I secure it, just like I secured the dental floss, so it doesn't come unraveled. And then I pull my feather mohawk here. I'm going to pull it over the top and secure it, because again, that's making a wing casing. Shoot, I just snapped my thread. Okay. And you will, I'm sure, snap your thread many times. Reattaching my thread, bringing it back to where I was working. So I need to finish securing my wing casing here. Okay. I just want to make sure that's on there really well. And then all of this is extra. I'm going to trim it right off without cutting my tail off. Okay. And I've secured the ends of those feathers, and then I bring my thread forward. I'm going to tie about 4 knots. And then I'm done. That's all there is to the nymph. And feel free to get creative, okay? You can use dubbing for the body. You can use some different colors of feathers. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but make sure that that they have the characteristic of a nymph. So they should have ideally 3 parts to their tail. I swear this one does. Okay, they should have 3 parts to their tail. There we go. 3 visible body segments, right? The head, the thorax, and the abdomen. And they should have legs and a wing casing. Okay, so for your nymph, 3 parts to your tail, the 3 main body parts, legs, and a wing casing.